Balavi Sankuratri, I'll begin with you if you can hear me. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Vineet. Thank you for calling.
Well, you understand the intricacies of, how important the Sri Lanka chapter is when it comes to Ramayana. A number of people, know what really happened in Sri Lanka, but when it comes to remnants, when it comes to the legacy, and the relics that still survive in Sri Lanka, perhaps all of us are not aware of everything that Sri Lanka has to offer and the connection that beholds India and Sri Lanka together. In context and in view and light of what is about to happen in Ayodhya, how would you describe these events and this connection that India, Ramayana and Sri Lanka have had?
Great. Then let me start with the latest episode, what happened recently. Every year, Ayodhya has the tradition of inviting cultural troops from across the world on the eve of Diwali. And every year, teams from Sri Lanka also come. And this year, in 2023, a team from the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs has sent their official dance and drama troupe to perform at Ram Leela in Ayodhya during the time of Diwali, marking Sri Ram's return after 14 years of exile. This is a clear message from the Ministry of Culture, Sri Lanka, to India that Sri Lanka is very much welcoming the Ayodhya temple coming up for the Ram. This is the first thing. And of course, coming to the tourism is concerned, there are over 50 sites which are being marked as having connection with the epic Ramayana. That is one. And let me take you a little more to 2020. In 2020, the government of Sri Lanka, the aviation department, has given a public notice asking the public to give any information available related to the Ravana's aviation routes. And this is the public notice given by the government to the general public of Sri Lanka, which means you can understand how much they are connected to Ramayana. And if you go a little more further, in the year 2019, Sri Lanka for the first time has launched its satellite into the space. And the name of the satellite is Ravana 1, which means they may be having another 9 heads of Ravana also getting into the space. This is another thing, the connection what Sri Lanka has with Ramayana and how people are accepting it. And let us go all the way back to the times of early independence or pre-independence time. On the 7th of December, 1947, the government of Sri Lanka has announced its first commercial aircraft operation, which has actually flew on 10th of December, 1947. And the name of the first commercial aircraft of Sri Lanka, which flew from Ratnamala Airport to Madras via Jaffna, then Madras, now Chennai. The name of the aircraft is Sita Devi. I think these are a couple of examples to give how strongly Sri Lanka is connected to Ramayana from the times immemorial. That is the first thing. And people in Sri Lanka, where the 50 Ramayana sites are being marked, like you mentioned earlier, Sita Elia Temple in Ashokvanam. Very close to Sita Elia Temple, there is a garden called Hagla Gardens. You may consider Sita Elia Ashokvanam to be the combination of both Hagla Gardens and Sita Elia Temple. And these two together are still having the prominence. And Hagla Gardens is still the garden from the times of Ravana. Ravana also maintained it as a garden, even today it's a garden. Yeah.
Bala, you also mentioned that if a tourist goes to Sri Lanka and wants to understand the connection between Lanka and Ram and Ravan and Sita and Ramayana and India, it's going to take a lifetime. Yeah, and of course I see you endorsing that fact today as well. But the fact of the matter is, a number of people still consider the Ram Setu and some of the other popular things that have been mentioned in this popular epic as the be all and the end all. What would you recommend to these people? What kind of an enamor and a lure awaits them when they go to Sri Lanka and actually try and see that these places in fact exist? They form the culture of India, but from a distance, and need to be explored for all its authenticity.
Great. See, when the tourist is going, like, or a pilgrim is going to Sri Lanka to explore the Ramayana sites, I strongly recommend you need the pilgrim or the tourist has to decide on what style you want to go. He has a limited time period, a limited budget, or whatever. You want to quickly go on a to see only the sites, offer his prayings to the respective places, take some photographs, take some prasad, and come back to India. Then it is you can go for whatever the number of days, 6 nights or 7 nights or 10 nights, whatever you wanted to. But if you want to explore Ramayana, the minute you go to Ayodhya, you explore Ramayana in Ayodhya, and go to Sri Lanka, spend your time, ample amount of time to understand Ramayana and learn Ramayana. You will be taken to the next level of Ramayana. For example, I'll tell you. So I'll leave the viewers with a kind of suspense for them to actually go and explore Sri Lanka. If you start learning Ramayana from the Sri Lankan's perspective, or you go to Ayodhya and then come to Lanka and start understanding the Ravana's version or Lankan version of Ramayana, then you will start understanding why did Ravana allowed Vibhishana to go in support of Rama first of all. When Vibhishana is going in support of Rama, Ravana being the mighty, he can actually put Vibhishana in the prison, right? So, but he still allowed Vibhishana to go in support of Rama, his enemy. So, for that, if you want an answer, you should not be a tourist to Sri Lanka. You should be an explorer of Ramayana to Sri Lanka. So, when Hanuma is going, when Vanarasena is going on all the four directions in search of Sita Devi, the mudra of identity of Rama is given only to the south direction Vanarasena, which includes Hanuma. The identity of Rama is not given to the other three direction going Vanaras. Why is it given only to the south direction? For that, if you want to know the answer, person has to go and explore Ramayana in Sri Lanka instead of just going as a tourist. Rumasala today, one of the Sanjeevani part considered by the locals in Sri Lanka, getting its name from the word Ruma, who is the wife of Sugriva, Ruma Devi. So today they have a place called Rumasala. So Sugriva. So how did that name come? For which, if the audience has to know, they have to travel to Sri Lanka, not just to see the place, but to explore Ramayana. By the time they explore this and come back to India, they will start knowing the insights of Ramayana, what is Ramayana trying to tell to the audience, rather than just going as a fairy tale. So Ramayana has a lot to tell that you will start understanding only when you experience Lanka. So Ayodhya is, of course, is the divine one, you go pray there and come back. But Lanka is going to teach you Ramayana.
Bala, also, what's happening in Ayodhya with the consecration ceremony, there is obviously about to be religious tourism, which is going to galore. Do you think, parts of that religious tourism also needs to divert to Sri Lanka after they understand what they can find and what they can explore there?
Yes, of course. See, this is a beautiful era what we are in. Now we are going to see the Ayodhya temple coming up, and down the line, maybe 50 years down the line or 60 years down the line, where I can see what I can forecast is every person today, we already have the tradition, every person going to Kasi will in return go to Rameshwaram also. So it is made a point that the person who visits Kasi has to visit Rameshwaram. The person who visits Rameshwaram has to visit Kasi. Ayodhya and Lanka are going to be taking the same path. So every person down the line, whoever is visiting Ayodhya should visit Lanka, and every person who is visiting Lanka for Ramayana should visit Ayodhya. These two will be the rails of the railway track, parallel rails of the railway track.
Right, and even in terms of education and marketing, what do you think ought to be done by both the nations, India and Sri Lanka, in togetherness to make sure that this is a new era, a new chapter in exploring the legacy of Hinduism and Sanatan Dharma and the epics we are all so familiar with?
What I strongly recommend at this point in time is that both the governments should come together in exchange programs like cultural exchange and Ramayana festivals. India has already started doing Ramayana festivals. Sri Lanka should also slowly start the Rama Ravana festivals, etc. And coming to the attracting the Western pilgrims or Western tourists who look at Ramayana only as the cultural perspective instead of the religious perspective. To attract them, India and Sri Lanka should have a mechanism of a visa which allows them to travel between the nations multiple times without the hazard of renewing the visa multiple times. This is one what I can suggest to the authorities of both the sides.
And even in terms of both the countries exchanging notes when it comes to educating people about the other side, how are we doing there, Bala?
See, I'm in the research related to Ramayana and related to Sri Lanka. Is almost coming Pongal. I'll be finishing 14 years, equivalent to the exile time of Lord Ram.
Right. Well, great insights, Bala. Appreciate you being here.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.